You're listening to The Inside Scoop, a podcast about self improvement and knowledge seeking. Our aim is to explore a diverse range of topics and perform self checks on whether we're being the best versions of ourselves every week. I'm your host, Marius Urbalis. Let's get started. So this week we are having like a kind of a how did you call it? A pair, like pair
Oh,
programming. So it's a pair
peer. No,
peer.
no, no. I
Yeah,
called it
peer.
peer.
Uh
Yeah.
peer therapy.
Yeah.
It's actually an interesting title, kind of. Yeah. So I know that you. So is it final? Did you actually defer your year? Is that what happened?
I was going to say something first.
Okay.
Uh, our peer therapy is basically what the normal people call checking up on their friends.
Oh. Fair.
Anyway, I
So
don't know what normal people do.
I guess. But anyway, so is it true? Did you just defer your year? Like what's happening? What's the current state of things?
Yep, it's final. I've deferred my year. I'm coming back in like something like 10 months. Because you think about it, we've done 2 months of university plus 12 months minus 2 months we've done. And yeah,
So how are you feeling? What's your plan right now?
my plan right now for the next 4 weeks is to get myself back on my feet, get my mental health straight,
Mm-hmm.
um, which is probably just going to involve doing some food delivery on my bicycle work. So I've got work, but I'm also getting out, getting fresh air, exercising, um, which is supposed to be good for your mental health, they say.
Mm.
And I'm going to be finishing for the next 4 weeks also my tutoring contract. So I'm actually going to be able to focus on something like for now, because previously I had so many things going on, I couldn't focus on any single one thing for an extended period of time, and it was too many things. So I was just jumping from one thing to the next, and I wasn't having any good thoughts.
Mm.
And I'll also be finishing my vice president for computing responsibilities for this semester, and maybe the next semester, but probably not, because the next semester is also another 3 months of university. Um, and I found so far that performing this role takes a real toll on me,
Mm.
from all the social interaction. Even writing emails is friggin' stressful for me. Like, it brings me anxiety. Um, that's something I probably should. It's not something I should address. It's just a part of me. It's kind of how how I things that I lingering on from some. I don't know if trauma is the right word, but they might call it that. A psychologist, psychiatrist might
Mm.
call it that, or something, like from childhood, I guess, being rejected from peer groups and stuff. It's kind of had an effect on me, of where I care an awful lot about what people think before I say something.
Mm.
Um, I think that's it. Maybe other things as well. Maybe there's just another load of work where I'm not really. I feel like I'm not really performing my job substantially as a vice president, and then obviously that makes me anxious when I have to go and speak to people in relation to this, because it's like, sorry, I'm not performing as well as I should be in this role. And yeah, but I mean, I've dealt with this thing quite this I guess trauma. I don't know if trauma is the right word, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
I've never been diagnosed with anything, but I know. I think we're going on a tangent now, but yeah.
I mean, email is a good way to just formulate your thoughts slowly, isn't it?
Yeah,
Something
yeah. I
that you
guess
don't necessarily have to quickly put out, like, let's say, a conversation being the quickest, most rapid way of needing to express your thoughts, then instant messaging, and then email. I think it's more of a thoughtful medium. Um, so I don't know. I probably feel like you should be finding this even better.
I mean, perhaps when I'm in conversation, I'm just put on that spot. Like if I start chairing a meeting, I have to chair the meeting to the end. So I just kind of get into the zone. I just have to you just have to move forward. But
Hmm.
when I'm sitting down to write an email, it's like I could spend hours on it.
Hmm.
I spend an hour on it because I'm just like, if I phrase it like this, how are they going to take it? How are they going? How
Hmm.
are they going to react to it? So for a long time, the way I've dealt with this is just avoid having to write emails a lot to people. So I mean, that's a way of doing things. You don't have to interact with people in many lines of work a lot. And I've just kind of picked up something that's not very well suited to me, but but it helped me, I guess, to understand myself at this point in time even more, because having not been exposed to such situations allowed me to, uh, I guess, form an image of myself that I've progressed with this, I guess, social phobia, social anxiety a lot more than I actually have, um, which is not a bad thing or a good thing. It's just a thing, as I always say. Um, but being put in these situations again and seeing how much they drain me, part of it was, they there's also the introversion and extroversion, right?
Hmm.
And so, I mean, I think it's a mix of many things. I think it's still partly social phobia and partly just introversion and partly just not being um fully fully wanting to um fully enjoying all of the responsibilities. Like I took up my position as vice president of computing because I cared deeply about students' education, as I've said before. And I guess I didn't imagine all of the tasks that it would entail
Hmm.
fully. Anyway, I guess it's just a mix of introversion and social phobia. Yeah.
Isn't that a good thing to try and push yourself through that, especially like this
Well,
VP thing?
I mean, you might want to do that if you want to be a rounded person, but it's not necessary for. I mean, it might help in some aspects to live. I mean, you need to be able to talk to people in real life to get on with life, to progress through life. But like Linus Torvalds, I'm not sure how you pronounce his
Hmm.
name, the creator of Linux.
Hmm.
Uh, he wants to interact with people like the least
Hmm.
possible. So he doesn't actually, he interacts with people through like code reviews, and well, he did. He does. I don't
Yeah,
know
yeah.
what he does these days. So code reviews, and there's you know, he made I think he made Git, right, as well. He made Git, I think. Um, so he could collaborate with people,
Mm.
or so he put his code out there, I think, and I think it was so he could yeah, it would help him collaborate with people on this code,
Oh,
but he didn't have to speak to any people. It was just like people contributed, and he was like, "Yeah, that's good,"
it's good enough.
and that was it. And well, he really, cares about the quality of the code as well. So, um, but yeah, Linus Torvalds is good at insulting other people. That too, yeah. um, I've not read his code reviews.
No, I don't know how he don't know how he does his code reviews, but yeah, I just know that he's a cool guy. Apparently, he's like because his ideas and things that he stands for, that's cool. And the meme from it is when your Git repo breaks, even Linus Torvalds himself just deletes it and reclones it again. That's his solution, the creator of Git's solution on how to fix a repo. So instead of having to rebase, merge, like do all of those like reset fixing things, rebranching, he's like, nah, it's probably going to take me like an hour to fix it using commands. I'm just going to allow this computer to clone it for like 15 minutes again instead of spending like an hour to just try and like fix it. So uh, yeah, I know kind of a few stories about that. That's cool. But yeah, so he's a cool dude. What's your, I guess, coming back to the
What
topic,
I
I
was
guess.
getting at,
Yeah.
I guess what I was getting at is, yeah, I could work on this and make myself more like uh easy with people. But I think one of the things is, like, early on, um we develop like things that you go through early on in life kind of stick with you for a long time, and it takes a lot of effort to change them. So like once you're in a certain path, you can either try to become more rounded, or you can uh optimize for like one very specific thing.
Mm-hmm.
And like for me, throughout even like first year and second year of university and so on, like I hardly cared to interact with people at all,
Mm.
and just focused on like just coming into university. I only just focused on like my studies basically. And if there was a point when I came to university in first year, I was like, okay, I could right now go start going out to parties and stuff, and that would like help me ease my social anxiety and things. But I was like, nah, I won't do that, because that will just make me like uh, a party animal, and
Mm.
I won't focus on my studies. And yeah, I was like, because I didn't enjoy that kind of that sphere, I guess, of activities.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, there's no point making myself enjoy those, so that I like waste my time. Well, I say waste my time. For me, waste my time doing those things when I could be doing what I'm already okay with doing. And yeah, one of the other things was like a trade-off. If I don't have anything interesting to talk with most people, that was the other thing. If I don't have nothing interesting to talk with most people,
Mm.
then already I'm not getting distracted by talking with people, or by wanting to talk to people. So by creating more in common, more things, or so trying to say um, engage with popular media so that I could interact with people,
Mm.
have
Yeah.
things to talk about with people. Instead of doing that, where then I would want to talk to people about the popular media, I would just like stay out of it and focus on my own things. And I'm not like some amazing genius programmer whiz right now, but I've had a lot of time to think about other things like philosophy and stuff, and that's my passion. And the fact that I've got this social phobia, I just sweep it under a carpet, and I'm like, oh well, it's just part of me, and I don't worry about it too much.
So do you think this kind of may have also like influenced, so the influenced your decision to defer the year? This is a lot of things go into consideration when you're obviously when you're deferring a year and all that, right? But what I mean is like, in any sense, do you think that it had influence? Like even if it's the most simple thing, like you didn't go out socializing, which means you decided that it's a good idea to like work more, then maybe you worked and then worked more, and then next year you're like, okay, that's it, that should be my goal, to work more, and then you overworked yourself until, or maybe you took too many things to do
Well, I can address that. Yeah, this
because
semester,
yeah.
like, So the social phobia absolutely did play a part, because what it means, I can do the meetings, I can chair meetings, and I can interact with people, and I'm actually quite comfortable with doing that.
Hmm.
In a lot of situations, but new situations particularly are quite frightening to me, anxious, anxiety-inducing to me, and also sometimes writing emails that are kind of not even high stakes, but
Hmm.
I'm like, how is it going to be received by whoever? Um, and so like the amount of energy and time that took from me was one of the things that I couldn't give that time to the things I would normally, so just sitting down, getting my head down and coding, or learning about something new. Uh, and then I kind of fell behind because of that. So that's one way in which, and I guess the other way, um, as you were saying there about, I guess, not going out and socializing. Yeah, so that's not, maybe not the social phobia, but just not having an interest in going out, uh, that much of an interest. So the way I used to socialize with people was basically just in the labs, in the computer labs, uh, with people I knew there, and that was the extent of my socialization, basically.
Hmm.
And I guess at being stuck at home, I didn't have anything else to replace it with, because, as you know, I don't really uh, play games that much. So it's not like I'm playing multiplayer games in the evening with other people and socializing. And so I didn't really have anything else to go and do. So while, partly I think the socialization that I got at university when we were still there physically last year was kind of crucial
Hmm.
to my well-being, mental well-being, and then it was just taken away. And yeah, so that's as much as socialization as I would do, and then I generally wouldn't put myself. Um, I don't often decide to just go out and do things, but to meet people and stuff. But I think more so now.
Hmm. So I guess I'll explain what I mean by this kind of question is more of like we keep coming back to the workload one, but I think I can, right. So I'll quickly explain my story. I was in a high
Yeah,
school back in Lithuania where the high school was one of the best ones in the country itself, or in our town, at least city. That was like the best high school so there were rumors, and I even remember like going home from it one day, and then there's like a small girl being walked by her mom, and then she would just show, hey mom, it's like that high school, it's like the one where like it's apparently very hard to study and everything. So I was like, I don't know, because I attended. I don't feel like it's too hard to study or anything. But ev- ev- even for my freshman year in that high school, I remember seniors say, "Yeah, you do have to find a work-life balance because otherwise you're gonna like go insane or crazy and whatever." I was like, I don't know what that means, but anyway. So I did kind of. Ever since then, I started that kind of like a rhythm of sitting sitting through the lessons to like learn all as much as I can, then doing the necessary homework, maybe looking at the stuff that's interesting, and then other than that, going doing some social events like I usually used to do like tech for the events or photography or like go and work or like play in a band or whatever. Like do some random stuff that we would just, I don't know, come up with, which would take our minds off of the studying, even though it didn't feel like it was much studying, right? But what I'm trying to say is that I kind of developed that rhythm and routine of just kind of slowly chill, like flowing through the academic experience, doing just as much necessary to like succeed, kind of. not always aiming for the most. And maybe, so like looking at the way that you deferred your year, right? Maybe your goals were to get like the top grades, and also that your balance was a bit lacking. Maybe you expected too much from yourself in that sense, where you thought you're
Yeah.
going to be able to sit through this for like hours upon hours in the library, where our brains aren't like designed to just do that. We need some
Well, I think
distractions
it's
in
a
there.
lot more than that. If I can just jump in now,
Yeah.
I think it's a lot. It's a lot more than that because I did think about this a lot, and so the problem was basically um, in first, second year, I think third year as well.
Mm-hmm.
It was there was almost what would you call it? Kind of a wave of how much effort I would put in and how it would relax. So how it was split for me is basically would work hard, and then over the summer I would pretty much chill.
Hmm.
And now I come back and I was like, I gotta work even harder now. And then I would chill over the summer again, and then I would come back and I've got to do even better than I did last year now. But then something happened. Somehow that kind of got out of hand, and I got in a really bad mental health situation. And last year, last semester was also terrible. Not just this semester. Last semester was terrible. Um, and that kind of broke the whole
Up and down.
wave up and down thing. That broke it, and then so it wasn't meant to come back again like that. Yeah, I kind of basically it got really bad. Like I chilled out after that happened. After my mental health situation got really bad that semester, I was like, right, I've got to chill out now. I just gotta take it easy, and so I did. And going into the summer and throughout the summer, I just kind of stabilized, and just I wasn't feeling those kind of spurts of motivation like I was before, where I was like, I've got to work really, really hard now. But I was just more like, just going, just floating.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so when the plan was to, um, yeah, I'm going to take on a lot of work now. For this semester, I'm just going to, for this short period of 12 weeks or 11 weeks, not really a short period, I'm going to work, just work really hard for now. And then after that, the plan that I was going to have to come back down and do the opposite, relax. But because the wave had been broken before,
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't coming back like that, if you understand. So the build up, the efforts that it took to build up to that level where I'd be working as hard uh, was a lot more, and it wasn't, and it wasn't possible really. It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't feasible to get to that level anymore because I was so chilled out throughout the summer, um, and the cycle had been broken as well. Yeah, the cycle is what the word I was looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so normally I would come back after the summer and I would just hit the ground running. Right, this time I didn't, but there was other things in play as well, which was like too many things going on, and that's the workload that we talked about before. This was not a workload that I was ever used to at all. In previous years, I would just literally do the course modules,
Mm-hmm.
and I would just put everything into those. But this semester, I was doing course modules, vice president stuff, and tutoring 2 modules, uh, and I wasn't able to where usually I wanted to. I would expect to be able to have the time to sit down and deeply think about the course modules. I wasn't able to do this time, and so what it created is this kind of feeling of inadequacy. Like I was expecting more of myself, or more of myself in the modules than I was able to do, and my study method wasn't adapted at all
Mm.
because my study method was assumed that I was going to have so much time, which I didn't have anymore, and our study method is kind of ingrained in us if we use it for a long time, and to change it is also hard.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wasn't able to change it in that time also, and so it was many things, confounding variables. I mean, like the ones I'm saying, I'm really speculating. Like that's on those. Like I can't know exactly what it was, but that's my speculations. Um, and yeah, I wasn't going to recover from this, especially. Yeah, from the start, it was just like shock because I wasn't able to do what I wanted to do, and nothing was working out.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I decided to defer, we have 4 weeks left. I was speaking to my advisor of studies, and he was like, what can we do? Maybe we can drop the tutoring. I can help you with that, because I was like, yeah, really didn't. I felt weird about, felt anxious, not kind of anxious. It brought me some anxiety dropping the tutoring, because like the module I was tutoring, a part of the module was also being taught by my honors project advisor.
Oh,
I didn't want to
yeah.
look like I can't, Um, where was I going?
Is that your study advisor said you could drop tutoring, but you didn't want
Yeah,
to?
and so no,
So,
well, yeah, he was like, yeah. So do you want me to like help you with that? Do you want me to get you out of the tutoring? And I was like, no, that's all right. I mean, I'm pretty set on withdrawing, and like at this point, like, and also the somebody also mentioned, could you have? I think it was you, maybe. Could you have dropped the vice president stuff as well, and would that have helped you? And it's like, I think at this point, the shit I put myself through had done so much damage mentally that for me to bounce back would have been way too much. So I wouldn't even been able to achieve what I wanted, uh, having removed those things
mm,
in the modules that I was studying. And I also had the graphics assignment and the graphics test, and those were together like 50% of the module. And I was like, yeah, it's like wasn't the chances were, my calculations again, where I'm not going to bounce back from this. So I was
mm,
just like, no point. And if I had not really achieved very good grades this semester, I would have been so demotivated the next semester as well. And like people say, don't get so attached to your grades and stuff. It's like it's okay to get low grades, but in my opinion, my feeling is that people that do get high grades, like people who get straight A's, they are emotionally attached to their grades, because you have to find that motivation somewhere. You can't have both. So yeah.
yeah. So it is kind of like a wave of overwhelming responsibilities, do you think? Where instead of maybe like, slowly ramping it up, all your responsibilities over like the years, and I guess
Yeah.
training yourself to do many things at once, you thought that you could just sustain the same amount of like effort for the coursework with all the other. Yeah.
Well, it was all of the things that I've mentioned,
Mm-hmm.
many confounding variables.
Yeah, obviously.
uh, I'll probably go back to this to actually analyze them, because I think I mentioned like 3 things, and I'm interested in analyzing such things um, for psychology.
Yeah. But that was like, but then again, if you haven't ever kind of like done so many things at once, and also, done the social part of being a vice president and like doing all that, I think there was risk involved. Like you kind of, it's just the same way I did my trades today, because I got into stock trading, but then I think I'm gonna get out of it soon. Because it's like a risky thing to get into without having enough experience. So it's like it's a weird parallel, but like you know, going into what you don't know is obviously a risky move. So,
Yeah, I mean, I thought I knew what I was doing. That's the thing, and I
area,
think
yeah.
maybe you felt the same way about the
Oh yeah,
stocks.
dude, I felt so confident. Holy shit. I've done one successful trade and I was like, dude, if this is how it's gonna go, I'm gonna go and, do it. So, and it's just
Right.
like, and the stock market is just one example of many things that can happen in life, getting overconfident and cocky. At least that's what had happened to me currently. And I'm not saying there was like some huge, losses that I encountered. It was like 8% or so of my portfolio, which is actually, well, technically a lot. And an experienced person would not go over 2% of their portfolio. So what I did is I kind of lost 4 times more than I was supposed to. So,
Hmm.
well, too bad, you live, you learn. This is a trial by fire or whatever. It's a thing where I'm hopefully gonna put all of this aside now and rethink my strategy. Being, wait, so this doesn't work clearly, which means that there is some sort of knowledge that is required to be attained prior to getting into that. So I'm probably either gonna go into it, head first, learn as much as I can, see what's up with all of this thing, or I'm gonna realize that maybe the effort is not not necessarily rewarding enough. Maybe I'll realize that the return on this effort that I put in is actually worse than if I was to, I don't know, go and start a business or something. Like, you know what I mean. Um,
You know, even if the effort is eventually good on this, it's not kind of a job you can even share with people. I mean, to talk about. Uh, it's not like you're going to talk to people about stocks without boring them.
yeah.
And while you're putting so much effort into your media career. Like that's something you can talk to people about, and that influences. And I think that's probably a big part of your social life as well too.
Oh, dude, I applied to be a media coordinator at SpaceX until I realized that I wouldn't even be able to legally work because it's
Mhm.
rockets and you need some sort of like a specific clearance. So either I get a Secretary of
You have
Defense.
to be American.
Not necessarily.
Yep.
You have to either have a United States citizenship, you can have a green card, or you need to.
No,
Hmm?
you have to be American.
No,
Yep.
no. You can have a
Where did
green
you read
card.
this?
You can have a green card. You need to be a U.S. citizen, or the Secretary of Defense himself has to like allow you to to get that thing. So, um, this is known as ITAR, the International Traffic in Arms Regulation. And again, it's a like you either do have to have like a citizen. There's like specific rules. So currently, as it stands, I do not have like any kind of, unless the Secretary of Defense is watching this podcast, listening to this podcast, then please sign off. I have a clean history.
Well,
So
I guess Elon Musk himself was lying, or I can't remember what he said when he was talking about this. I think I think he addressed why. uh, I think he was actually addressing why only Americans can work for SpaceX.
yeah, there's a video.
So, but anyway,
Why
let's
he
go
there was a
and
question but why he only hires Americans.
let's move on
But the
because it's
question,
unimportant.
yeah, so I'll send that over to you.
Are you gonna edit the podcast like this?
So that was a tangent, but coming back to what we were talking about and how this came to be was, yeah, the career that you choose and put more effort in is way more meaningful and valuable But see what I saw this, and this probably happens to many. It's like gambling or poker or I don't know what. Like it's same here. If you do uninformed decisions in the stock market, it's literally gambling. So I kind of saw profits. I was like, okay, this is gonna be a very good way to profit in the short term, and this is always the this is always the wrong thing. It's like you don't. So I pretty much got emotional about, wow, I may be able to get some profits, and then I'll be able to use that money for like my future and stuff. Until I realized that
Right.
just this at the same rate at which you gain it, you may lose it and you lose even more. So that's the lesson for that. But
Yeah, well, I think with it's learning the actual thing is not exciting, but if you go jump into it and you get lucky and you're like you're now thinking about all of the things as you said what you're going to be able to do with this money.
mm-hmm.
You get so excited that has to come back because like the process of learning the stuff to actually be successful in the market, it's not exciting at all. It doesn't come
Mm.
like it's not like it's a slow
Yeah.
growing
So
thing.
that's why this was like,
And so
oh, if is it actually that easy? Hell yeah. Why isn't everyone rich, And then you realize,
you
nope,
know
that's
yeah,
not how real world works. That's nope, 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 careful. So
you gotta test those boundaries sometimes.
yeah, so I think that's a good thing. Do a reality check. But yeah,
'Cause,
so
I was just thinking like you're doing many things already as well, and that
yeah, so
like
this trading parallel is a completely different thing. I'm just putting it out there because I'm feeling bummed out about what happened today. But my parallel was like, and don't get offended, obviously, but like me getting into the stock trading would probably be, and maybe that's why I talked about high school and all that. You thinking you can tutor two modules at the same time, do your honors project to the best of your ability, get first degree in like doing big data, which is actually a difficult module, doing graphics, doing vice president of computing, like the whole department. It's like I just think that you bit more than you could chew by thinking, oh, that's it. I'm just gonna go in, and then this doesn't seem to be hard. But then when everything actually hit, and in one, at once, you realize that holy shit, this is a bit more than you anticipated, I suppose.
yeah,
And it's like instead of ramping it up, because like imagine if in first year, because you brought this example where in first year you didn't go and socialize with people. Imagine in first year you went out, joined a couple of societies. Second year you're like, oh, that's kind of cool, let me create my own society or be like a president of a society. Then you would like started to build that skill set to just effortlessly communicate and then send out emails and stuff. Third year, I don't know, you were like already in some sort of like fuses, and then fourth year comes because you already have all of this like easy social skill set, and it would be easier. I'm just trying to analyze, I'm just thinking because
yeah.
again,
I think you're on the
yeah,
right. Yeah, I think you're right. If I had done all those things, that would have been a completely different path, and I would have been so much more comfortable with doing vice president stuff. If I were to do that,
yeah, and because the way that you say that, I do a lot of things, and I do feel like I do not um, thrive in a single task environment.
right? Yeah, the reason I
Like,
was saying that is because something like stocks actually is one of those things that requires
yeah,
a lot of focus on one specific area. Like the
yeah.
many things that you are doing, you kind of have to be doing all of those. I feel like it's good for you for your line of work that you're doing that many different things.
Mm. So maybe
There's just things like stock trading that you have to just you have to spend some time focusing on this one thing. It's
I'll
difficult.
tell you what happened yesterday. What my brain did. So we were talking about some topic in the stock trading. We were talking about stock trading, right? And my brain was like, "Oh, okay, that actually makes sense." Uh, Someone said, 2% of your portfolio is as much as you want to risk for every trade, and I'm like, Okay, so if we do this happened again. Do you hear? Can you hear it?
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
It's the
Yeah, I can hear it.
motorbike again, guys. I explained this
Just
again.
get on it. Just get on with it.
This is so weird. The guy turns on his motorcycle and leaves for like 3 times in a row. He never comes back to park his motorbike. Anyway, so
I'm not interested in a motorbike.
so what happened is my brain jumps to weird things like that. You see what I mean? It's like when I just realized, tasted blood in the water, sensed that I'm actually gonna have to learn a lot in this stock trading. My brain was like, okay, what if I went out and made an Android app which would allow me to calculate this stop loss easier? Because I would just, put my skill set to use. I would create an Android app. I would type in the numbers and it would show me what I'm supposed to do the stop loss at. And I'm like, okay, that's a good idea. Other than that, my brain was like, what if we just made an algorithm or did an AI or something, So it's just like, I don't want to do the thing itself, the thing that requires work, which is sit down and do. I can do everything around it. And it's like, I can make tools that help me do that. I can go out and like organize people to make an AI software that tries and analyze it or whatever. It's like,
You can organize people to do that.
well, we were trying to like just to already like do that, but I think we would need a bit more expertise in that field, and it would be a bit costly because we'd most likely need a lot of computing power. And I know a couple of people with like powerful GPUs, which we could maybe utilize, but for that we would need to rent quite a scalable, pricey server farm to actually simulate the machine learning models. So it's not very sustainable. But what I mean is like I'd be better doing this rather than actually sitting down and analyzing it somehow. It's weird, It's the different workloads. And maybe you would be way better in stocks, to be honest.
Um, yeah, I mean, if I were to go into it, but for me, like anything that I do has to have fundamentally is based on some value hierarchy.
Hmm.
So, and that's to do with meaning. So value of meaning, meaningfulness hierarchy. Anyway,
Hmm.
So yeah, I've already said in the pre-show of the podcast why I wouldn't do day trading is because it doesn't really do anything for society at large, and it's just a matter of can you play the game, and if you can play it good, you can make money, and like money is like means money has like zero value for me. If I had a value system of my own, but money has zero value to me.
Mm-hmm.
If what I'm doing brings me money too, or if I can get the money to make myself financially independent so I can pursue whatever the hell I want, then that's great. So I suppose in that sense, but then the value isn't in the money; it's in that kind of money that can make me financially independent.
Mm-hmm.
So it's at a certain point, it doesn't even matter how much money it is. So, yeah, the things that I value are like, I guess, knowledge. And this, yeah, I say I value. It's a very simplistic way of putting it. Intrinsically, the things that make me tick
Mm.
are trying to figure out the universe. So I don't care what's happening in the stock market if I can be thinking about how the brain works, or how we can simulate the brain, or
Yeah, everyone has
whatever.
different values. Um, I couldn't fall asleep yesterday. The only thought that I had in my head was, what is my dharma? I was like, what the hell is my goddamn dharma? I was like, because we had a chat yesterday, about the game that you thought you want to bring back and like participate in the building the community back and like developing it and stuff. And I watched some of like comparisons, Jeff Bezos versus Elon Musk, and how like what's happening with like how they came to be, and then and how like these businessmen like are created and all that. And I thought, hell yeah, that's that's cool, because the mission of, for example, Elon Musk's mission is to change the world. It's not just to go out there and make a quick profit. And it seems like anything that he does uh, is setting out to change the world, and it's contributing meaningful stuff. So I was just in bed before sleeping thinking, God damn it, dude. Anything that I currently do is just so meaningless, in comparison to these guys, and like the in the grand scheme of things. It's just, so I was thinking, what should I go out and pursue? Like clean out the oceans, or like I don't know, dude. When you feel like making a business would be good, but then the business should not only be for profit, it should also be, because I mean usually that's from the entrepreneurship that I learned, is it solves people's problems, and that's the best businesses actually solve people's pain points and stuff. So um and they're both profitable, and they both serve people. So I was thinking, what, because it's such a huge problem. It's like, no, I mean, it's not a huge problem, but a prominent problem that I think of sometimes. Like, what business idea would I want to pursue so that it would both fulfill and be meaningful? But pretty much, again, if everyone figured this out, everyone would be a millionaire businessman. So maybe that's also a thing where if it was that easy, everyone would do it. But yeah, I just had that
Yeah.
thought, like, what the hell is my purpose? Existentialism these days, dude. And then I thought quick buck by trading stocks would move me closer towards my goal, and then no, it didn't. So
Hmm.
it's weird. But yeah.
Yeah. I had a period like that too when I played poker.
Oh, you play poker?
Yeah, but it was always about financial independence for me. I wanted to get out. Um, I was like, I saw poker and I was like, I can get good at this and I can make money of this.
Mm-hmm.
Look, but then it's like, actually, on the large scale of things, poker isn't actually that good of a way of making money, even if you get really good at it.
Hmm.
Like if you're playing, there is some people who are making quite a good living
Hmm.
from playing online poker on like 12 tables at the same
Oh
time at
yeah.
micro stakes.
Oh yeah.
Um, but that's like, okay, you're just becoming a robot at that point. And yeah, I think what was more fascinating for me, what I wanted to, what actually grabbed my attention at first was, when you see the shows on the TV, um, live poker, and then you've got these guys and they're sitting there and they're making reads, uh, and they're like, and big jackpots, and but I was like, okay, like the first thing was I hated when people would make things make out things to seem impossible,
Hmm.
or like when I think growing up the feeling that like the consensus was poker is gambling, and gambling is bad and you lose money, and I was like, but you can make money
Mm-hmm.
in this. So I was like, I want to prove you all wrong.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make a shit ton of money playing poker. And also it was just so like I don't like I could play it from home, right? uh so yeah, that was the big thing. I could do it from home, because I didn't know what else I was gonna. I don't know how to start a business.
Yeah. Here we go.
I don't have any skills.
That is a beautiful segue, and it actually explains why my stock game happened the way it happened. It was like, I want to start a business, but I don't have skills to do that. I don't know shit on how to run a business. I don't know shit on how to do a business idea, you know? So I was like, well, but I still want to make money. And it sounds like a good idea because you can do it from home, you know? It's like you said, poker and all that. So, I don't know. People do say things are impossible, but then there's usually people who have done it. And I also had like a poker period. I didn't think I was gonna like money. I just played out of like play money, but I was just like, oh hey, I'm the poker guy now. You know, was trying to follow the footsteps of Phil Hellmuth or Daniel Negreanu or all of those like professionals. You know, but then realized that yeah, this is also a phase which will pass. But I do respect, and I think we talked about it too yesterday about being an expert in something. So having Daniel Negreanu make a YouTube video explaining his 20 or so plus years of experience in poker, explaining to us noobs how to play a poker hand, or Jordan Gilbert Nothing, CSGO player, who has also like 20 plus years of CS experience, making content where you can watch and learn from them because they've been through this and they have so much experience in it, and people regard them as experts because they are experts, you know. So you know, I don't think I can find, and then that's the problem. I'm in so many, how, what did they say, like fingers in so many pies, or like different, there's different like definition, different sayings on like, you when you have so, you're so spread out into so many different things, you don't have one specific thing which is your dharma, or the uh I don't know, the kind of thing that you want to be an expert in.
Mm.
Because as much as I always thought I don't want to be an expert in anything because that would sound weird, you know, I'd be like just a linear person. So maybe that's what my fear when I was growing up was. I don't want to sound like a linear guy, or like some of my friends who all they do is just play basketball and they, you know, he's like a basketball player and he doesn't do anything else in his life. So that fear motivated me to do so many things. But then now I'm realizing that there's a, you know, immense value in being an expert in a specific thing where people regard you as that because they listen, and you have the ability to trade that attention and, you know, use that as leverage to like start businesses or whatever, you know, um, and help them out. Yeah, it's like, I don't know. It's a whole cycle of weird thoughts. So, I don't know what you think. Would you want to be like an expert in AI and psychology, or
Yeah, I don't want
mm,
to be an expert in AI. It's just AI. I don't want to be an expert in AI or psychology. I want to be an expert in my own field that I create. uh,
mm,
anyway,
okay. What is that?
no, I mean, I mean, I don't know where I'm going. Like that's the thing. Yeah, I want to be an expert in stupidity. Claim Cicero. Um, I'm just going like ahead. Like, here's the thing. I don't know where I'm going. I'm just doing things, and that's the thing. Yeah, I want to. I've got a goal of making an AGI, an artificial general intelligence, and but there isn't like a particular path to it. It's not like I'm going to become an expert in AI and expert in psychology right now. Actually, I'm learning, for example, about neural networks, and while at the same time I'm curving my own path in psychology before I find myself at a point where I'm comfortable. I've kind of created my own path in psychology and created kind of like my structure. Then turning back and looking on all of the knowledge that we've gathered over the years and for many people in psychology, all the very smart people, and then taking in what they have uncovered and discoveries that they have made and their theories and everything, taking in that in once I've already got my own structure and model of it, so I can have an original view on it. And but that's only in psychology. Like for example, in when programming things on computers, it's a closed system for me. It's like the computer is built on our own mathematics,
Mm-hmm.
like on our closed system of mathematics. Well, not closed system, I don't know, but on our system of mathematics, that's what the computer is built on, and physics and stuff, on things that we understand. We built the thing. So if I'm learning something, some programming language, I'm not trying to reinvent things. I'll just go and see how it's supposed to be done. But that's why I bring that up, is that's the kind of distinction I make. That I had to make. So like, while in psychology, I'm trying to do some wacky shit, trying to have theories of my own and like explore them with philosophy and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I shouldn't do that in computing, because that requires a lot of fucking effort for potentially nothing at all. So if I were to like sit down and be like, I'm going to create my own programming language from scratch, I mean, that's so many freaking things to figure out that people have figured
Mm-hmm.
out to do before you, and especially when it's just a tool for you, there's like no point.
I'm just
Um,
cautious of what's gonna happen when people move on to things like that, and who's gonna be maintaining the basics of it all. We're slowly losing experts in the low level stuff, because everyone thinks that it's hard to learn all of that, and thus I'm just cautious, like what's gonna happen in the future generations when everything. Let's say now, everything is running on like C and all that. Let's just imagine everyone says, nah, screw that. Let's just use C# or something because it's like more user friendly, and no one knows how to write assembly code anymore or whatever, because with years, like we're building more and more on top of the old tech, uh, putting abstractions, wrappers, and all of that. I mean, yeah, maybe there's still gonna be people who study it all
I,
and
I
understand it.
think there's going to be people. I mean, yeah, for a long time there's going to be people. There's always going to be people. No, I say always, but there's going to be people who are doing that stuff, programming, like drivers and stuff. First of all, they're going to be doing it in C or whatever. Um, so I don't think we're going to lose those people um, that fast. I mean, when somebody's got to write the drivers, somebody's got to make the graphics cards, somebody's got to make the CPUs, somebody's got to design them. Like, we're making new ones all the time. Um, the companies exist, that companies employ people. They're not just going to, you know, get rid of all those jobs somehow. Like, as long as they can make money,
Mm.
they're not just going to disappear. Um, and how they make money, they keep innovating CPUs and stuff. So, and while they're innovating CPUs and graphics cards, somebody's always writing drivers in C. And I mean, there's lots of people that are very passionate about just programming languages and the designing of programming languages and whole philosophies on that right now. So, and the bigs are always going to be there. The documentation is always going to be there. So, I mean, these aren't like super hard things if you just sit down and study them. So if we ever are like, oh shit, we're running out of people, just be like, okay, we need to start teaching people it again. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I feel we've
Yeah, I
been.
don't think it's going to be a problem.
Anyway, I feel like we've been going on tangents, and it's been an hour of our conversation.
Yeah. Time for after show.
time to wrap it up. And yeah, we can come back to analyzing your decisions and my decisions with a clearer head next week. I think I will be looking back at this, either laughing at it, or well, we'll see. We'll see, because I admit my stupidity in things. I just want to look back at it and think, oh, that was stupid, and either I grew and I improved from that, or, well, but anyway, so if you're fine with that, we're going to wrap it up for today. And
Yeah, that's all good.
And as always, thank you for listening. If you are interested in following up with the episodes, check YouTube, The Inside Scoop. It should actually come up. I haven't checked SEO yet, but video version of this is on YouTube. You can participate live in the recordings of this every Friday, 8 p.m. GMT on the Twitch channel. The information is also on the YouTube channel. Everything else said and done. Rate it, follow it, subscribe to it, all of the good stuff. Thanks for listening, and catch y'all next week.
See you.